So this is our last chapter for CV155, the state of stress caused by combined loadings. So in our previous chapters, we already tackled how to get the internal forces sa isang section ng isang structural member. Okay? So diba yung for example, pag-cut natin sa section ng beam, alam natin na pwedeng may internal shear force dyan, may normal force, may bending moment, right? Pwede rin na if merong torsion, so merong torsion dyan. Now, in the succeeding chapters naman, we have talked about how to calculate the stresses caused by these forces. Yung pinakauna nga, natakil na natin how to get the normal stress. Normal stress, that is just the normal force over the area. And then, dumating na din tayo sa moment. Yung stress due to moment, we call that one as flexural stress. So, meron tayong formula dyan. We also talked about the distribution, saan zero, saan maximum, as well as yung shearing stress natin. Shearing stress. Now, did you ever notice na yung mga pag-calculate natin sa stress is kung flexural stress siya, talagang specific na sa section na yun, ang nararamdaman na lang niya is flexural stress or bending stress. Diba? And then, yung sa shearing stress naman, specific na talagang shearing stress din yung nararamdaman ng section natin. Hindi pa tayo naka-encounter kung saan yung section natin is combination ng stresses yung nararamdaman niya. Hindi pa natin sila na simultaneously na consider. Diba? Tag-individual lang na cases yung na-consider natin dito. So ngayon, yun yung pag-uusapan natin. What if yung cross-section natin is nakaka-feel ng iba't ibang stresses. So, ano yung resultant stress? Gusto natin malaman is ano yung resultant stress na meron doon sa ating cross-section. Okay, so to be able to do this, it is very important that we know how and when to apply the principle or method of superposition. Okay. Kasi ito yung gagamitin natin. Now, I don't know if natakil na natin to sa 161. I cannot remember. But, kaya nga nilagay ko na lang dito yung section kung saan sulat yung principle of superposition doon sa libro ni Hibbeler. Okay, so we have principle of superposition. It states that the resultant stress or displacement at the point can be determined by algebraically summing the stress or displacement caused by each load component applied separately to the member. So in other words, class, if meron tayong complicated na loading, let's say a beam, no? Cantilever beam, meron tayong complicated na loading, let's say triangular. Okay. Now, to determine yung stress o di kaya deformation, pwede rin deformation or displacement, right, ng section natin, let's say at section C, due to this triangular loading, pwede natin gawin is i-break natin into components yung complicated na loading natin. So, pwede nating i-break to into what? Pwedeng palitan ko lang ng trapezoidal ha. Mas complicated kasi yon. So, let's say trapezoidal na lang. So, ito siya. So, ang gagawin natin, pwede natin itong i-subdivide into rectangle and then triangle. So, ito ngayon, with the rectangle na loading, and then plus yung triangular naman na loading. Okay, so gi-break down natin into components. Tapos, yung bawat component natin, alamin natin yung stress due to that load o di kaya yung deformation due to that load dito rin sa pangalawang component. And then, yung total, isasum natin yung stress or deformation na makukuha natin from each component. Yung total, that will be equivalent to the stress or deformation ng original na loading, complicated loading. Okay? So, that's principle of superposition. But, to be able to apply the principle of superposition, based on the book of Hubler, two conditions must be satisfied. First, yung loading natin must be linearly related to the stress or displacement that is to be determined. Okay, linear ang relationship ng stress or displacement sa ating loading. And then, pangalawa, the loading must not significantly change the original geometry or configuration of the member. In other words, hindi dapat masyadong malaki ang deformation na magaganap sa ating member. Kasi pag masyado ng malaki, the summation of the effects of the components will not be equal to the total effect or stress or deformation sa ating original na loading. For example, ganito. If our beam is subjected to a loading P, now tapos ang nangyari, the deformation is large enough, no? Significant. Ito malaki yan. Now, kung apply natin ang superposition principle, i-break down natin into components. Kunwari, this is P1 and then P2. Now, yung P1 natin, yung deformation niya, let's say, maliit. Then, yung P2 naman, medyo ganyan. Now, this, kapag i-add natin, di ba ang moment dito is P1, D1. Let's say, ang gusto nating makuha is yung moment. So, P1, D1, dito naman is P2, D2. Now, yung total moment dito is, di ba, P times D. Now, this P times D will not be equal to P1, D1, and plus P2, D2. Because, ang nangyari, yung D1 and D2 natin is not equal to D2, and hindi rin equal ang D2 at saka D1 sa ating D. Because nga, yung D natin is medyo na shorten. Mas malaki yung pagka-shorten niya due to the fact na masyadong significant yung deformation na nangyari. Diba? So, parang ito yung original. Pagka-bend natin ng malaki class, gaganyan yan. So, from this D, masyadong lumiit. Right? So, ito yung D na ngayon ng applied na loading. Now, yung D na yan, hindi yan equal dito sa pag in-apply natin ng P1 na medyo konti lang yung pagka-deform and yung P2 na ganyan. So, hindi talaga magiging possible na gamitin ang principle of superposition if masyadong malaki yung deformation na nangyari. Okay? Now, ang pinaka-simplest type of combination ng loadings na makikita natin sa isang cross-section is the combination of axial and flexural loading. Okay? Axial, so pwede yung tension, compression, no? And then flexural load, we have the bending due to bending. Now, let's say for example, para ma-visualize natin yung concept, let's say for example, meron tayong simply supported beam. So, in this figure, naka-carry siya ng concentrated load Q. So, this is our Q. Ito yung centroidal axis sa ating itong naka-graph na color red. Now, mayroong support daw dito na hinge dito. And then, mayroon tayong and ruler, and then ruler dito sa left, and then hinge sa right. Okay, so obviously meron tayong reaction dito, tawagin nating R1, and then ito naman tawagin nating R2. So let's say we are interested at this section, so tawagin natin tong section MN. So of course this load Q, pagkat natin sa section M class, if we consider our left side of the beam, meron tayong makikita na internal bending moment. And that internal bending moment will cause a flexural stress on section MN. And we know ano yung distribution, di ba, ng flexural stress. 0 at the neutral axis and then maximum at the outermost fiber. So, di ba pwede yang i-drawing as pa ganito. Nilagay ko lang lahat sa right side ng section. Okay? So, ang moment natin dito, if we consider this left side of the beam, ito yung section MN. So, ito yung R1. So, our moment will, to counter this R1 na pag ganun clockwise, we need counterclockwise. So, ang M natin is pag ganyan. So, tension tayo sa baba. Tension sa baba. And then, compression sa taas. So, ito yung stress, flexural stress distribution natin. Okay, so let's say, kuha tayo ng point from the section, point A, and then ang distance ng point A na yan from the neutral axis is Y. Now, if we want to get the flexural stress ng point A na yan, we know that to get that, we have the formula My over I. And alam natin na tension siya, directed normal to the surface of the cross-section as shown. Now, kung titingnan natin yung section, drawing ko siya in this form class. Ito yung section natin na MN. Tapos, cut tayo dito for the neutral axis. So, ito yung point A. Meron siyang distance na Y dito. Now, yung nararamdaman, let's say this is the point A. So, element yan, no? Differential element. So, yung nararamdaman na force ng ating element A is tension. So, away siya. Away siya sa ano to? Y. So, A. So, away siya sa ating normal surface. So, papunta dyan. And the, ano yung value ng force na nararamdaman ng element A? It's just its stress. So, sigma B, the bending stress or flexural stress, times yung area ng differential element na yan. Okay? Now, how about if meron tayong same beam supported in the same way? So, meron tayong hinge, a ruler, and then hinge dito. But, this time, it is loaded only with an axial load P. So, ito, axial load P. Now, considering same section, let's say section MN, kaya ano ngayon yung stress na mararamdaman ng ating section MN? Of course, that's a normal stress. A normal stress are uniformly distributed all throughout the section. Kasi axial load yung meron tayo. So, you have, in this case, ang nature ng ating axial stress or normal stress is tensile, diba? Kasi pag-cut mo dito, P yan siya, and then yung normal force natin na internal, that is also away from the cut section. So, pag drawing natin dito, rectangular, and then tension, so away. Yan. And then, ang magnitude is just the force over area. Okay, so again, if dito natin siya i-drawing, ito yung section MN, then kuha tayo ng element A ulit, then at a certain distance y from the neutral axis. So this is point A, so this is the element A. Ano yung force na nararamdaman ng element A natin? That is again a tensile force, which is tensile force with a magnitude of the tensile axial stress, so denoted as sigma A, and then the differential area. Okay, so if both loads act simultaneously on the beam, na-consider na natin yung individual na stress na mafe-feel ng section natin due to the individual loading. Yung isa, yung Q, yung pangalawa, yung P. So what if simultaneous sila class na nandoon sa ating beam? So meron tayong Q and then P dito. So what will happen is, let's say this is our NA, then at distance y, we have here A. So ang mangyayari, remember here our force is sigma A dA, dito naman sigma B dA, and they are in this case, in our situation, lahat sila tension. So ang mangyayari, dalawang force na ngayon ang nag-a-act sa ating force nang nag-a-act sa ating element A. So this is sigma A dA, while ito naman sigma B dA. Okay? So this is, i-drawing ko lang ulit yung support, then this is the hinge. So this is section MN. Tapos ito yung point A at a distance y there. Now, ano yung magiging distribution natin? Resultant stress distribution natin. Okay, so, di ba, ang first, due to Q, ang naging resultant natin, ang naging stress distribution natin is pa ganito. Okay. Compression dito, tension dito. Then, due to P naman. Due to P, this is tension na uniformly distributed. So, ang mangyayari, the resultant distribution due to Q and P is the summation of this stress distribution. So, i-sum up lang natin sila. And in this case, class, ang magiging itsura is ganito. Paganyan. Bakit? So, in this first na sa upper portion ng neutral axis natin, di ba compression to, and then this one is tension. So, if ang tension natin, itong stress dito is mas malaki. So, tension minus C. So, mayroon pa tayong matitira dito na also compression. And then, ito, lahat to tension in the lower sa neutral axis. Tapos, dito rin sa due to P. So, we expect na positive talaga yung magiging result dito. But, note na yung point kung saan masi-zero ang ating stress distribution, resultant stress distribution, where it's zero, it's not going to occur at the neutral axis. Hindi siya mag-occur doon, ha? So, kung i-drawing ko to siya, pag ganito yan, masosolve pa natin ano yung location kung saan zero ang stress. Basta wag kayong mag-assume na nandoon siya sa ating neutral axis. Okay? So similarly, what if we consider a point in the same section but above the neutral axis? So ang mangyayari, if this is section MN, Q, P, ruler, pin. So at B, yan at B, so at a distance y from the neutral axis. So note that kung sa taas tayo ng neutral axis due to Q, ang mararamdaman ng ating element B is compression. Okay? Compression siya in this case kasi ang moment natin is pa ganito. Then, due to P, again, that's uniform tapos tension. So, mangyayari due to P and Q, ulit, that is pa ganyan. So, i-drawing natin ulit. It's going to be like this. Yan. And kung tingnan natin siya dito at point B, you will see that yung direction ng forces sa point B hindi na equal. Bakit? Kasi yung sa first, yung due to P, yan yung positive. So, sigma A dA positive, while our flexural stress negative sigma B dA. Okay? So, you have to analyze the nature of the stresses, yung sa flexural, and then yung sa axial. Tension ba or compression? I-analyze mo kung ano yung dapat. Okay? So, if the tensile stress is denoted by positive sign, which is our usual na sign convention, positive for tensile and then negative compressive. So, the resultant stress at any point of the beam kapag axial and flexural stress lang ang meron is given by the formula, which is the algebraic sum of the axial and flexural stresses at that point. So, ito, i-add lang natin or i-minus ang axial stress at saka flexural stress. So, if our axial stress is P over A, and then, di ba, ang ating bending stress or flexural stress is My over A, this will be the final form of our formula, but take note that mayroon tayong sign convention. Okay? So, pag positive ang ating bending stress, so you use plus, and then pag negative, so minus. But also, sa P, di ba yung normal force, pwede rin siyang maging tension, but that is uniformly distributed, and then pwede rin siyang maging compression. So, dalawa yung sign na dapat nating i-take into consideration. Okay? So, again, this is just for axial and flexural na load combination. Ito yung pinaka-simplest na combination of stresses na pwede nating makita sa isang section. Now, shifting to the Hibbeler na book. Sa Hibbeler na book, i-consider niya hindi lang axial at saka flexural na stress ang pwedeng mag-occur sa ating section. I-consider din niya yung the rest na stresses. So, meron siyang nakalagay doon na procedure for analysis. So, this will be helpful for us, especially in our analysis, and especially for those individuals na medyo step by step yung kanyang solution. So, kailangan niya ng guide. So, meron tayong procedure. So, procedure 1 is, of course, section the member. Kung saan natin gusto makita yung resultant stress distribution, so i-section natin yung member that should be perpendicular to its axis. Okay? where the stress is to be determined and obtain the resultant internal, normal, and shear force components and the bending and torsional moment components. So, kailangan pagka-cut natin, ay i-obtain na natin yung mga internal loadings. So, alam natin pwede yung maging normal, shear force, diba? Bending moment, torsion. Okay? But take into account daw that the force component should act through the centroid of the cross-section. And then, ang moment natin should be computed at about the centroidal axis. Okay. So, after ma-determine yung mga internal na loadings, we are now ready to determine the stress components. So, we determine the stress component associated with each internal loading. For example, na-determine mo yung normal force. Ito, alam mo na yung value ng normal force, P. So, ano yung stress na associated with this normal force? So, we know that that's a normal stress. So, we use this formula, P over A. Diba? And then, after knowing that, pwede mong i-represent yung stress na find out mo as either distribution of stress para ma-visualize natin kung paano ba yung itsura ng ating distribution of the stress. Pwede rin na yung element ng stress na lang, i-draw mo yung element tapos ilagay mo kung ano yung mga kung ano yung mga stress na meron siya. Okay, so normal force. Pag shear force naman, so napag-alaman na natin, this is the formula. Alam din natin kung ano yung distribution dyan. And then bending moment. So this is for straight members. Wala tayong na-discuss na curve. So wag niyo muna itong pansinin. Then kung torsion naman, you have the torsional shearing stress. Okay? And sa Hibbeler na book rin, gi-consider rin tong thin-walled pressure vessel. If your vessel is a thin-walled cylinder, so pwede siyang maka-feel ng circumferential stress at saka longitudinal stress. Okay, so after determining the stress components and drawing its distribution para ma-visualize, gamitin na natin yung superposition method. Then, pagka-gamit ng superposition method, with the result of the superposition method, yun na yung final answer natin. Okay? So, that's a general overview of the procedure. So, at least meron na tayong idea. And then, mag-proceed na tayo sa example. Refer to the next video.